Hey everyone, I hope you are all having a wonderful day. Today I'm going to be doing some still life drawings and we are just going to be practicing, I'd say 3 or 4 still lifes. I'm going to include the photos in the description of the video so you can access the photos that I'm drawing. And I'm using my handy dandy sketchbook that I have. This is just a simple sketchbook that I really enjoy using. And yesterday's sketching session was really fun. This is so fun. We did drawings and paintings using food coloring. So food coloring, you'd be amazed at how bright and cheery the colors come out. And I did this one. So I'll include a link in the description of this video if you're interested in watching it. For this sketching session, I'm going to be using some regular pens. I'm just using some gel pens and probably oil pastels, but you can grab whatever art supplies you have. You can use paint, pencils, crayons, whatever it is you have on hand. This is just going to be a fun sketching session where we practice our still life sketching together. And again, you can use whatever paper you want. I really just like this sketchbook. So I'm going to flip the camera around and we're going to get started. Okay, so the first sketch that we're doing is a teacup. It's actually quite a busy drawing, but who doesn't like a good challenge? And again, this art style of mine is not about perfection. I'm just doing a teacup, and we are going to see if we can draw this and color it. And I'm just sketching because normally I would do this with my oil pastels, but today we're just going to sketch it and see what we can do and allow yourself grace because it's not about perfection. And we really have to remind ourselves that it's not about perfection. So I just mapped in the teacup and now I'm going to map in there's like a plate right next to it, or yeah, it's like a little plate. And it has like a butterfly cookie on it. And all I do is just map the shapes out, and I find when it comes to coloring, that's when I have more fun. There's some kind of pear. I might get some artistic license here, but there's a plate, like one of those plates, and there's a bunch of pears on them. So I'm just drawing the random shapes of a pear. And I'm not too worried about the shapes because for me, I know that once I color it in, it'll look better. That one doesn't look too much like a pear. And there's a whole bunch there. So, and then there's this little, the end of the plate. Now I don't have everything mapped in properly because if you look at the photo, the plate comes out here. But again, this is just a loose drawing for fun. And now we've got like some purpley flowers. Okay, now we have some purpley flowers here, and all I'm doing is mapping in what I think the flowers look like. I know that I'm going to be coloring this in, so I'm not too worried about it. And then there's this really cool tablecloth, which we're going to put in. The details of the cookie will come out later. And I think there's some other lines with this tablecloth. And for me, the joy of drawing is just capturing the overall essence of the drawing. It's not about getting it completely perfect. Hold on. Try to get it to be a little sunnier there. Now, I have some different materials that I can use to draw, and I don't think I'm going to start with the oil pastels. I think I'm going to start with these Caran d'Ache crayons. You can use watercolor, you can use food coloring, you can basically use whatever you want, but I'm going to sort of map in, I'm just mapping in the cup. I'm just trying to get the yellow color in. And the pears are kind of yellow. Pears They're yellow pears. That's fine. Pears are supposed to be green. What do I know? Okay. So I just added a little color there. Oh, and the plate is yellow too with these pears. So I might again take some artistic license and add some different colors. But okay, so and the flowers are sort of a bluish color and they have different shades to them. So right now I'm just going to do this to really get that in. You can actually use crayons or whatever you have. And I'm going to add a second color, even though I feel like these flowers have like a purpley hue right now. I'm just, again, mapping things in. I'm only putting one color in because then I'm going to add some more colors on top of it. I'm grabbing a watercolor brush and it's just damp. And all I'm doing is just it's messy. All I'm doing is just blending, because this is my first layer of creating. And I know I'm going to add more details, so I just wanted to get that in there. I don't want to have blue on that yellow. Okay, I like the way that looks. And I might actually do a light blue where this tablecloth is. And I like to draw quickly, and that's why I just try to catch. If you were out doing some urban sketching, you don't really have a lot of time to capture an image, like a picture of people, especially if they're walking. So I guess this is kind of practice for that, because we're going to be doing that this summer. Okay, I like the way that looks so far. Kind of like this picture because it has a lot of yellow in it and blue and not too many colors. Okay, so overall, so far so good. What I'm going to do now is that cookie, that cookie has some light green on it, and it's like a minty green. Now I know I have a minty green in my oil pastels. And so I added this bottom color as the base, and now I can add some oil pastels on top of it. And so I'm just getting my oil pastels ready, and then I'm going to see what I can do to color these in a bit. So that cookie right there is a creamy color, but it also has some like a minty green color, although this looks blue. I wonder if I could find a minty, oh, here it is. Oh, well. I'm just coloring in the cookie. And one of the things I found was I really like the Q-tips for blending the oil pastels. I'm sure you could use other things. I just happen to have Q-tips. So that's the cookie for right now. And I want to add the blue swirls for on the cup. So I'm trying to grab it's like a purpley blue color. That's a little too dark. This might be okay. And they're just like, there's a couple. And so I'm just trying to draw those in. I'm not doing exact. And I want to get, again, my little Q-tip. And they even have some greenery coming out. Now, I forgot about, okay, so the coffee cup, or the teacup, has a black sort of rim there. And there's a swirl in the flowers. And the black kind of goes around, doesn't it? put a bit of a darker, I wonder if I could, a darker yellow under the cup. And the same with the darker yellow for some of the shadows here on these pears. I am. And now I'm going to get a little brown for the stems of these pears. Some pears have like a bit of like a green leaf on them, so I might add a green leaf just to show that they're pears. Sometimes pears have like a green leaf like that. So I'll just add a little greenery there. I feel like that adds to it a little bit. So I have the pears in, and now we are going to do the flowers, which have like a purpley and a dark blue shade to them. And they even have like a little bit of, they have almost like a yellow center. So I might just add some yellow and then see if we can add some flowers around that. Okay. And then I think I'm going to add a little more yellow to these flowers. I wonder if I tilted this up a bit, if that would. Oh. Okay. Okay, I like how that looks. And now I want to put the tea in. So the tea, there's a tea bag right there. So I'm going to try to go over the bag. that's looking good. I'm enjoying that. Okay, and then there's that cookie, and the cookie has like a light, it's almost like a light brown. I don't know if I have a light brown, so I'll just make do with what I have. And I'm going to try to make this look more like a butterfly, so I'm going to take some artistic license with this little thing, and I think I'm going to bring some purple in there. It's just a butterfly cookie. And maybe I'll add a little pink to the butterfly because there is a little pink on there. So there's the cookie. And I think all I'm going to do now is just add a little bit more to the what is that? Tablecloth. Make it stand out a bit more. And maybe, I wonder if I should put some, mix it with a little white. Let's see. Let's work on the next one. This one is a cat that's sort of peeking out over a window, and we're going to draw that cat and see what we can do. Okay, so the next drawing we're going to do is the cat on the deck. And I know it's not technically a still life, but I just felt like drawing a cat. And so we're going to try to keep this one simple, and it's kind of a challenge for me to draw with this thing here, but we're going to do it. We're just drawing this little kitty however we want to draw the kitty. It's not going to look like the kitty, but he is peeking over some kind of deck. And I'm going to draw him however I want to draw him. I don't think I'm going to do him exactly as we see because I don't want to draw realism. So I'm going to draw his little nose like this. And draw his mouth like this. All right, and so he's on this deck looking down. So we're just going to give him his quirky little face. I might actually give this guy a tail. And in this one, I'm just inspired to draw whatever based on that picture. I don't want to draw it exactly as it is. I'm going to shade him in a bit, and we are going to come back to him. Sometimes I just like to go off on my own, but now we're going to add a little gray because he's on like cement, like it's a cement deck. And I didn't want to have the whole top in there, but I did like the look of the cat. And we can do that sort of side where there's some blue tealish color. I'm going to try to get that color right here because he's on that deck. Okay, we're going to include that there. I just wanted to add his tail. And I thought what I'd do is add some greenery here. For anyone that didn't watch the video yesterday, I do want to show you what the food coloring looks like when you paint with it. My hands are a disaster, but I want to show you what the food coloring looks like when you paint with it. So I'm adding a little green food coloring, and wait till you see what the green looks like when I add it to this painting or drawing. I kind of want there to be a pot there, so isn't that amazing how that turns out? I have a whole video on it, and if you want to watch it, I'll include a link in the description, but I'm definitely, because this is just a sketchbook and just for fun, I am definitely going to be using food coloring, I think, when I'm painting some things. And you could draw over it too, because I practice with drawing over it. See how you can add some details with it. And food coloring is so inexpensive. And if you're just using a sketchbook, what does it matter? I really just love how that green shows up. All right, so we've got that mapped in. I do want to put some kind of pot there. And we want to add some details to this cat's face. I'm wondering what color pot I should put there. Maybe I'll do, maybe I'll match this teal and then we'll put a pattern on it. Maybe I'll make it more of this shape. And maybe I'll do another one here and we'll put a flower in there or something. Sometimes it's nice to let your imagination sort of take over. Okay, I like the way that looks. And maybe we'll add some flowers. And I'll get some red. I'm using gesso right now because I want to add some, just maybe flowers as this cat is sort of relaxing on his balcony or deck or whatever you call it. I like the way that looks. Okay, so that looks good. Now, what can I do with this cat? I'm going to put his eye color in. I'm going to try to be, I tried this one already and I struggled a little bit with it because I was trying to put in too much detail. And so that's why I've decided to sort of go off on my own with it and not go too crazy with the kitty. I do want to put a little bit of pink in his ear. And we'll see if we can add some marks to him to bring him to life a little bit. But again, I want to take it easy so that I am not overdoing it with the kitty. I do kind of want to get his green eyes in there. So all I'm using, you can use watercolor, color pencil. I'm just using a little gesso to get his eye color in there. You can even put like a little gesso over the food coloring, if you even used it, but you know, adding a layered effect to it. Okay, I like the way that looks. And I think I need to add his stripes, and that's going to be it for him. I found when I added the oil pastels to the kitty, it just ruined it. So I'm trying to be very careful with what I'm doing with the kitty. I'll show you maybe at the end the video of the first cat I did. I don't feel like he looked as good. And so I started over again, trying to be simple versus trying to do so much detail. Okay, let's see if we could get his tail in. I like the way he looks. I might add a collar to him, and then we're probably going to wrap that up before I go and ruin it by adding too much like I did before. Although I feel like I want to add a little bit of depth to this deck area or platform that he's on. I like that. And I want to add maybe a little white to these pots. And maybe, oh no, I don't know if I want to do that. Should I add a little, just trying to add a little depth to this plant. Okay. Now I do want to get a Q-tip. I like the way that looks. I might add a little something, is this the right color, to the flowers. And maybe a little white to his face. I like the way that looks. I might actually leave it and call that one a day because that was a really hard one to do. And again, I'll take a picture or I'll flip through at the end and show you what the other cat looked like. So this was my second go and I like this one way, way more. Okay, we're gonna do one more and call it a day. Okay, so the third and final drawing is going to be a vase with flowers, and we are going to do that one, and I hope you join me. This one, I think I'm just going to map out with a crayon, like it's a water-soluble crayon, and I'm just going to try to do this one quickly, and I will add my own style. I mean, I always do add my own style to it simply because it's hard not to add your own style to it, but it's almost like tulips. Maybe they are tulips. I'm just really quickly drawing this, or carnations or daffodils. Maybe it's a little bit of everything. And again, when you're sketching, it's not necessarily about copying exactly what you're seeing. For me, it's about mapping in the overall shapes and seeing what I can do. And I definitely like these colors, but I also like green, so there's definitely a lot of green in this.
and a lot of leaves. And I like that this is on a windowsill as well, but I'm going to make this my own and we'll see what happens. I think I'm going to add maybe with some black. Maybe we can add, maybe we'll just leave it with a little black and then maybe some wallpaper or something. I'm going to grab my water and I'm creating almost an abstracted kind of look. I want to do more, but time got taken away with the kitty that I tried to do. So now I'm just going to map this in and see what we can do. My battery's dying. Okay. We've got the yellow, which I really like. And now I can't wait to get this green in. And it's okay to have messy art. And the thing about, that I really like about oil pastels is you can do some water-soluble pencils or crayons, you can use watercolor, and then you can add your oil pastels on top of it. I think I'm going to do some blue here, just for the fun of it. And for me, yes, I want to do still lifes. I don't necessarily want to copy exactly what I'm seeing. I think the first one was more trying to copy it, and then I just went off on my own. So don't be afraid to do that. That looks good. I like that. And now, again, I'm bringing in the food coloring because I want to add some details there. And I know how bright the food coloring is. Kind of want to map in a little bit. Where did I put that? A little bit of the lines here. And then I want to put in some of these lines with the flowers as well. And I just like the way the food coloring, for something quick and easy, that's really bright and rich. I definitely like how that food coloring looks. And we're going to do some yellow there and add the highlights there as well. Hoping my battery doesn't die before this happens. Okay, so I've got my yellow. And I really like those. Okay, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I think it's daffodils. I've got some growing in my backyard. But I like the lines of them. And now we're going to do some green to make it pop. Can you imagine going to a park to do some urban sketching or whatever, and you bring out your water, you bring out your food coloring? I really like the way that looks though. And you could see too, like in this picture, you could see where and I don't know if I'm going to ruin it by doing it, but you can kind of see where the flowers went down to the water. And maybe, oh, you can see some shadows there. But for now, I'm going to leave it. I am going to try to add a little more blue, like a brighter blue here. This is just supposed to be sort of maybe a windowsill or wallpaper or something. And I think I'm going to add a little shadow underneath the pot, because the light is shining. Maybe I have the shadow wrong, but that's all I'm doing there. Ooh, if you had gel pens, you could really, if I had a bunch of gel pens, which I don't, I only have like one color, but if you had a bunch of gel pens, you could really add some detail to your painting. So that is going to be it for this drawing, because I think my battery is going to die. I wonder if I could do something really quick before my battery dies. Kind of want to add a little shadow there. And then I kind of wanted to add like a lighter yellow if I could. Before everything. I don't know if that's going to, I don't know if I'll take away from it if I do that. But I feel like it adds a little something. And even if I added, I don't know. A little white there. And I think a little light blue, like a really light blue there would look really good. So let's see if we can add some light blue. And so sometimes your art takes on its own life, even though you are looking at a photo for reference. Sometimes your art will just do its own thing. And I feel like that's okay as well. And that's what I'm doing here. And I really like how that turned out. The only thing I think I'm going to do, and again, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes here, because this is supposed to be for fun. This is your sketchbook. It's not supposed to be anything perfect. And sometimes once you let go, you'd be amazed at what happens. I wonder. And one last little, maybe a little lighter red. And I think that's going to be it for this sketching. So let's go over the sketches and that we did today, and I'd love to hear from you guys how it went for you. Let's quickly go over that. And so let's go over the sketches, and I'd love to hear from you how they went for you. This is the first sketch we did. This was an actual still life. It was the pears, the teacup with the cookie and the flowers. And I really love this one. I think this one might be my favorite. Then there's the cat one that I messed up. Really did not like the way he looked. And again, I kept going over him and over him to try to correct him until I thought, you know what? Keep on moving, Krista. So this was the next cat I did, and I let go, and I really, actually this was so much fun, and I like all these colors. And then the final one we did was the flowers, which are super bright and cheery. This was a really fun sketching session. I'd love to know how it went for you. Did you follow along? And how did it go? Leave a comment and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day and happy sketching.